Hello, my name's Sabrina Moreland, and I'm one of the librarians at Walters State, and I'm actually embedded in this course, so if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to me. Today I'll be talking about some library resources that will be helpful for your upcoming assignments in this class. So we'll be talking about some search tips for using search engines and databases, how to search specific library databases, and some information about APA formatting, since that is the type of citation style you'll be using for this course. So some tips for search engines. I know that for your group project, your co-teaching assignment, you were permitted to use other sources besides academic journal articles. So you might find some really good websites that are credible and helpful. You might insert YouTube videos into your PowerPoint presentation, and you're also encouraged to use some images because that does spruce up a presentation. So I just wanted to point out a couple things that you may or may not be aware of. And the first one is when you're looking for your background information and evaluating sites, you can do an advanced search in Google. So I'm pulling up Google right now, and we're going to say that my example search is functional literacy. So I can type that in, and I get several results, which we all know on Google, we get lots and lots of information. But if I go over to Quick Settings and click on Advanced Search, then I can actually fill out more of these boxes in order to narrow my results in Google. So I could add, if I could type special education in this box, I could try the word practices perhaps down here. And then I'm also able to adjust the domain that I would like to search in. So I could put in .edu or .gov or something like that. And now when I click on advanced search, I get more specific results that are all in the domain that I specified. So like I said, that's just one sort of element of Google you may or may not know, but it is helpful in narrowing your search results. I also want to mention the site called Unsplash. This is a photo sharing website, and you don't have to have attribution with these if you don't want to. So it's not as strict, I guess you'd say, on citing where this information comes from. The way the permission is given is very broad. So that's just something to be aware of also. So if I search for something like literacy, then I can use any of these images in my presentations or in my other assignments, and it's really easy not to get bogged down with all of the stuff regarding APA citations and presentations. So I just like to make students aware of this licensed site that is very inclusive and lets you use their stuff without attribution if you don't want to or don't know how to do it properly. All right, so you may be aware already from past experiences with using the library databases, but these are just a few concepts to remind you of. The first one is always consult basic reference to get some ideas for the path you want to take in your research, and also to start generating some related terms. So those are just synonyms or concepts that go along with what you're researching. There are subject headings listed in the databases, so we'll be able to see those in a few minutes. But these are also a great way to either broaden or narrow your search results. It's a way to get some more concepts for expanding maybe what you want to say about your research topic. We do still use Boolean operators for searching, so that's just and, or, and not to construct our search terms. It's not like Google. We don't go in and put a full sentence or use a great deal of our natural language to find information. We are also going to be looking at subject-specific databases, so these are all geared towards education. In the past, you might have used really broad databases, so it does help narrow our results more if we use those that are for specific subjects. And then we still have database tools to utilize, such as the citation generator, saving, emailing our articles we find, printing, that sort of thing. So your first idea of finding related terms, like I mentioned. You want to do that background searching, so you might want to go to Google. You might even want to look at Wikipedia for that. Never ever use Wikipedia in your papers or assignments, but that's a good place to go to get some more information. You also want to narrow your search, so maybe looking at a certain demographic like elementary school students or programs. And then again, just getting all those terms out there that will be helpful for when we go in the databases. And this is just an example of constructing a search that uses those Boolean operators I mentioned. So there's and or. Not is also a Boolean operator. So this is how I would plug in my different search terms into these databases, which I'll show you in just a few minutes. So your first major assignment is the journal article report or the interview. So if you decide to do the journal article report, we're going to access Teaching Exceptional Children through one of our databases, and you have to use a peer-reviewed journal so we can narrow that down. You want to pay attention to the dates and how current the article is that you're accessing, probably no more than 10 years, and then paying attention to those subjects and database features. So if we go to the library homepage, and go to databases, we can narrow our results to education. And then when we do that, we can scroll down and click on education full text. This is the database that houses that journal for us. And so then to pull up this specific Teaching Exceptional Children, we have to type in JN and then Teaching Exceptional Children in that first search box. Then we can start adding information. So I'm going to stick with this idea of literacy. So I can add that to my second layer. And when I hit search, I get 362 results. So again, we want to pay attention to the type of source we're using and the date. And we can narrow that down on the left by clicking on peer reviewed. And that will filter out anything that's not that type of source. And then we can change our date here to a newer parameter. So I'm going to say 2018. You could say 2013 if you wanted to. Let's do that make it a 10-year range. And so now I have 50 results. And so then I can add another layer if I'd like. I could add the term practices. And I get 18 results, right? You don't want to go too far because that could really limit your information. So then, once you have a list of results of articles that seem like what you want, you can click into an article. And most of the time, you're given the PDF. On the right are those database tools I mentioned. You can download this to your own device. You can print it off. And if you click on the envelope, you can email it to yourself and just plug in your email address here and even change this to APA 7th edition. You can also grab the citation generator. So when I click on this little yellow piece of paper, I just scroll down and can copy and paste this into a Word document. I will say when you copy and paste from an EBSCOhost database, you'll need to click on this little drop down and merge your formatting so that gray background will disappear. That's just something to keep in mind with these databases. But that's a quick run through of how to access the Teaching Exceptional Children Journal and how to search for the articles you need for that article review there. I'm going to go back to my list of educational databases because we'll be looking at these in just a moment. For your co-teaching presentation and lesson plan, you're going to be looking for an evidence-based teaching strategy, and you are permitted to use videos, photos, other links. That's why I mentioned those earlier. And these tips for searching are just like in the other database. So you could try typing in evidence-based practice and education. You could put quotation marks around your specific term, looking for just the strategy itself. Again, related terms are really helpful. So you could say mnemonic strategy or mnemonics. And then again, narrowing to a certain demographic is also really helpful. These are the 4 databases that will be really useful for this project you're working on. We've already looked at Education Full Text, so I'm not going to take you in there. And we're not going to look at ERIC because it looks exactly the same as Education Full Text. So the same ways of searching all apply. We are going to look at Educators Reference Complete because it is a little different. Back on that list of English databases. And this one's owned by a different company. This is owned by Gale. And so there's a few things to keep in mind. So I could search for graphic organizer. I could put that in quotation marks if I wanted. I never use what the database recommends. And then I get different types of results. You always have to change the publication date. So I could say 2013 through 2023. And you do have to do that every time you search in here. I hit apply. And then I have fewer results in that manner as well. I can use search within to add layers. So I could say secondary school or high school to narrow my results. I can even use this very specific type of graphic organizer. So I could put in concept map. And now I have 15 results. You can also do an advanced search up here at the top. And this looks sort of like we just experienced in that other database with these different boxes and Boolean operators. So we could type in evidence-based practice in that first box. And then in our second box, we could type in education, just to sort of take a broader approach to this. And then once again, we can filter to the last 10 years or so. And I can use search within to put in a very specific term if I like self-monitoring. And I get 20 results. Now in this database, you'll get your list of results just like before, but then you can click into an article and you're given this view, which is an HTML view, and all of your search terms will appear in red text. At the top, you can email it to yourself or put it in one of your cloud storage drives. You can download it and you can print it off. To access the citation, you just click on this Cite tool. You want to change that to APA, and you can copy and paste this into your Word document as well. The last database I want to show you very quickly is the academic ebook academic collection. And the reason we're going to look at it is because it is searching full text books. So it looks just like the other database, but the thing to keep in mind is starting off very broadly. So maybe I just search for multisensory instruction, or I just search for evidence-based strategies. But I can scroll down. There's only a couple results here. Again, you can change the date if you need to. But when you find a book that looks applicable, you click on the title. And then to take a step further, you want to click on PDF full text. And that opens the book the way it should be opened, so that you can look at the table of contents, or you can use search within to find specific pages. So when I scroll down, here's my table of contents. And like I said, I can click on one of these elements and it will open up just that section or chapter. Or I can use search within and I can enter terms like repeated readings in this box in order to access pages that are specific to that term. So when I click on that, I can say, oh, on page 377, that's my term. That's where my term will appear. And sometimes, but not every time, it will be highlighted for you in yellow. You can email pages to yourself and print pages to yourself, or you can grab the citation here just like we did before. I'm going to pause here for now, and you will be able to obtain some information about APA citations in my next video.